Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. Today I'm taking a look at another one of Jamie Bates' lovely TARDIS kits, but this time we're going on the smaller side. We're looking at a 1/13th scale TARDIS kit, which means it's in scale with the 5.5-inch character options figures. Jamie has produced a kit basically exactly the same as his 1/6 scale kits, just smaller. It comes flat packed and ready to assemble. It's packaged so that all the pieces are taped together, just like with the larger scale kits. It's all ready. It shows you exactly where you need to glue things. As ever, I would advise that you get yourself a ruler or a tape measure so you can measure everything out. You're going to need a few additional pieces to complete this kit. So, for instance, for the texturing, I used, as ever, polyfiller. And for the door handle, I used a piece of wire, same for the hinges on the door sign and the hinges on the roof. A bit more on that in a sec. And then I also used milliput for the door lock and also to secure the door handle. Once it was all glued together, there were a few other bits that needed doing. So, for instance, you're going to need something to fill these corner posts on the sides. Not all of the corner posts have these sort of cylindrical edges, just certain ones. That's to do with how the prop was constructed. For that, I just used cocktail sticks, chopped the points off and glued them in. And yeah, I think they did quite a good job. It wasn't too bad a fit, so I'm quite happy with that. Then once that was done, I added the polyfiller texturing, and then a few additional details were added, such as the bolts on the sides. Those were sculpted from milliput and just dabbed on. What was really handy, however, is that Jamie had already cut those circles into the strips of the pillars, so it meant that I didn't even have to try and gauge where to put them. I just made the milliput bolts and stuck them into the holes, so that was really handy. He also did the same on the front as well with the lock. Then, of course, another thing that needed doing was the door handle, which was, again, just a piece of wire, which I then finished off by adding some milliput at the top and the bottom, and as you can see, I've just added a couple of little indentations there to act as these screw holes. I didn't thicken it out with milliput because I was worried it was going to look too chunky, so I just left it as the bare wire. I'm not sure if I should have done that or not, but that's how it's staying for the time being. The other thing that I've since noticed is that actually the door handle is way too far to the left. It needs to go right over to the other side. It basically sits on that edge of that panel, which is very unusual, but that's just the way the handle was attached. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it. The door does open, and that is accomplished by a series of very small doll's house hinges attached on the inside. They're not nailed in or anything, they're just glued on. So once that was all done, I primed it and painted it this lovely blue colour. It's a very interesting colour blue because in some lighting it looks quite pale grey, it looks quite pale blue, sometimes it looks like more of a mid-tone blue. It's a really weird colour and it does the exact same thing on screen. If you look at any stories from season 9 and 10, the colour of the blue really does change quite a lot, and it was really hard to try and work out how much of that was down to the lighting or down to the fact that they may have just repainted the prop. I don't think it was anything to do with repainting the prop during those seasons. I think it's just a weird trick of the lighting and possible grading to the picture and stuff. Obviously, you've got to remember the picture quality of these programs is a bit ropey. So once it was all painted, the next thing to do was the windows. So for these, I just used the usual plastic lids from B&Q, cut them up into small rectangles, and then I added the same films that I used on the larger ones. And actually, the film that I've used on the front windows, that works so much better at this scale because you can't really find a very good pebbled glass for 1/6 scale stuff. At least I've not been able to, and this has sort of done the job. But with this smaller scale, because it looks that much larger, it works so much better. So I'm really, really pleased with how the windows came out. As you'll notice, not all of the windows have the same formation. Then on the back, the windows are completely white frosted, and then on the left hand side you've got one white frosted window, and then you've got one of the old style windows, and that's just simply because that's exactly how it was on the real prop. Then if you look up at the decals that came with the kit that you have to cut out and stick in yourself, you can see I've got the black on white at the front, the white on black on the right hand side, another black on white on the back, and then of course for the left hand side I've just got a greyed out sign, and that's because the sign went missing or was damaged. We don't really know exactly what happened. And then at the top, you can see I've added the little hinges. And you'll notice from the top, because of the way that this prop was constructed, it's not actually square. It's very wonky, which I love. I just love the fact that it's not straight. It's just completely bent out of shape and battered. And for those little hinges at the top, that was just strips of card and some of the same wire that I used for the door handle on the front and for the hinges of the police telephone box sign. And then finally, to finish it off, we've got the lamp housing at the top. For the rods, that was just cocktail sticks. For the little bump on top, that was just milliput. The actual square piece of housing is part of the kit. And then the trickiest part was finding something suitable for the lamp itself. And I really struggled with this. I tried to use different types of plastic and it didn't really work. And in the end, I just settled on using some of the same frosted sheeting that I used for the windows, wrapped it round to get the right shape and glued it into place. And there we have it. We've got a Season 10 Third Doctor TARDIS as seen in stories like The Three Doctors. Overall, I'm really, really pleased with how this turned out. I think you can all see that it looks so good alongside the character options figures. As ever, I've linked Jamie's Twitter in the description below. Jamie is in the process of setting up a website so that he can actually take orders properly and show off his stuff, and he's getting some new kit, so hopefully he'll be able to start taking orders soon. But definitely drop him a line because he may have a few of these in stock if you're interested. But yeah, once again, massive thank you to Jamie and a thank you to everybody for watching. See you all again soon. Bye bye.